The Federal Reserve has major ties back to Ripple already, and they literally just confirmed what's about to happen. We have to go over all of this, but first we really have to start with stablecoins because it's all based around stablecoins. If you haven't been paying attention, stablecoins have essentially replaced CBDCs, okay? And CBDCs and stablecoins, I'm just going to be honest with you guys, they are essentially the same exact thing, just issued out by a different issuer. CBDCs are issued out by the central bank, while stablecoins are typically issued out by a private company. But remember, they are both programmable. They both have the same exact features. But regardless of that, stablecoins are the pillar to everything happening around tokenization, around DeFi, and even around crypto. Now, as we do really kind of talk about that, I saw this post from Wrath of Kahneman, and it really did open a few eyes, okay, to what's actually going on. Because I was reading the comments earlier, and people actually said that this is a great way to actually look at it. So we have here, at first glance, putting USDC on the XRP ledger seems counterproductive, to ROUSD at least, and it's BNY backing. But together, they clarify Ripple's intention to anchor the XRP ledger as infrastructure for regulated digital money. It's been quite a month. This is something that we have been addressing on the channel for over at least 1 or 2 years now. The goal here from Ripple is not, oh, how can we swallow up the stablecoin market? How can we compete with Circle? How can we compete with Tether? See, this is what's been going on, right? It kind of takes me back to the summer of 2024 where, Brad Garlinghouse said that the government is going to go after Tether. And then Tether's CEO went over onto X and said, oh, we have, a CEO that's caught up in a legal battle talking about how the government's going to go after. Basically, it was Tether's CEO taking it the wrong way and thinking that Ripple was trying to compete with them. This is the thing. Ripple has one goal in mind, the Internet of Value. Stablecoins are becoming that Internet of Value. We now have tokenized fiat currencies on chain in a huge way, making up over 1.1% of the global M2 supply. I want to quickly interrupt the video just to let you guys know that now is the best time to lock in and jump into the free Discord. If you guys want to get even more exclusive access, you guys can join the premium section for $99.99 a month. And I know that that sounds extremely expensive, but you are not just getting access to my updates, you're also getting access to tokenizers updates and a full team of individuals that are here to help you along the way throughout the cycle. There's a ton of updates in there, access to my portfolio, access to trade updates, chart updates, weekly market breakdowns, mid-weekly market breakdowns, and so much more. So what are you guys waiting for? Join up in the free Discord down below. And if you guys want to get access to those exclusive updates, you guys are more than welcome to join the premium section as well. So let's dive back on in to the video. Their goal with the XRP ledger and XRP has always been to have XRP be the bridge currency for all CBDCs. And in this case, it could be stablecoins. That's exactly what's happening. And this kind of confirms it with the USDC launch on the XRP ledger. It also confirms it with all of the additional stablecoins launching on the XRP ledger, which is like 6 or 7 now. But on top of this, yes, the BNY Melon news was huge, right? They were selected to serve as the primary reserve custodian of Ripple's enterprise-grade stablecoin ROUSD. They are jointly committed to paving the way for digital asset adoption at institutional scale, and together are helping to bridge the gap between the traditional finance and the cryptocurrency ecosystems. It's kind of crazy to see a name like BNY announcing something like this. It goes to show you how integrated crypto is becoming with traditional finance as well. But let's not lose focus of the original idea here. What we're about to witness because of this announcement is a flood of institutional players tapping into ROUSD as well. Anderson actually made a good point of this because he did quote the announcement of BNY. We have, I remember Bob Way saying, by paraphrasing, nobody wants to be first, but everyone wants to be second. The domino effect is incoming. And yes, I agree with this. I do think that BNY just opened up a huge can of worms, and it's going to be huge for XRP and the XRPL as well as ROUSD. We are about to witness so many big players tapping into ROUSD, which will reinforce it. Now, for those out there that are, complaining that ROUSD is mainly on Ethereum, I did make a post earlier today talking about this. All right. I said, it was right here. So I said, people keep saying that ROUSD is useless for XRP because majority of the supply is on Ethereum. The big thing everyone is missing is that Ethereum is the dominant network for stablecoins and DeFi currently. This will change eventually, but most won't admit that. Ethereum's inefficiencies will start to become very prevalent once demand gets too significant. We already witnessed JP Morgan jump from Ethereum to Base with JPMD. Onyx was originally living on private Ethereum tech, and now they are switching to public chains, and guess what? It's not Ethereum. Things will eventually change. With tokenization, institutional DeFi, and stablecoin use cases surging more and more, the demand is too much for networks that have scalability bottlenecks. Enter in the XRP ledger with USDC and ROUSD as well as additional stablecoins. Now, where does the Fed come in? Well, number one, ISO 20022 on the Fedwire Fund Service launches in 2 days, technically in 24 hours. This is extremely bullish because remember what ISO 20022 does. It unlocks new technologies to be tapped in. That means DLT, stablecoins, blockchain. This is very exciting. At the same exact time that the Fed is kind of giving us an insight on what they have planned. Here we actually have from subjective views. Justin, Federal Reserve Governor Waller, says he wants a level playing field. He also stated that nothing is evolving faster or being more disruptive than the payments industry. Stablecoins will foster competition in payments, forcing banks to compete. By the way, this is the same Waller that told us back in 2024 that stablecoins reinforce the dollar and that they are very open to embracing stablecoins. This is way before Jerome Powell even gave the green light on stablecoins. But check this out.
I'm glad you went right there to payments. It's an area where you've done decades of research. Maybe you could talk a little bit about what the priorities are for the Fed in terms of this payment space. And then say, every meeting I go to, the word of the day is stablecoins. Can you say a little bit about how you're seeing stablecoins, what you see as the use cases, and what the risks are that we should be thinking about?
Yeah. So the Federal Reserve, since its founding, one of the things that the Fed was charged with by Congress in 1913 was to provide kind of a safe, efficient payment system at the time. I mean, it was at a time when you wrote a check in San Francisco and somebody on a horse rode it across the West and took it to another horse and eventually got to the East Coast. I mean, that's the kind of, seriously, that was what Congress realized. We have to have a national bank or central bank to make the nation's payment system more efficient and faster. And that has been part of our job for over a century. And that's why I take this job extremely seriously in terms of being the payment oversight governor. So we have our typical big payment currency, obviously one of the big payment instruments that we oversee. We have ACH, Fed ACH, which is the standard batch processing way we do payments, payroll, and things like that. We have Fedwire, which is typically the large transactions up to $1 billion that have to be made. And then we recently have FedNow, which is our real-time payment system that we launched about a little over a year ago. And we're trying to develop that now to have it more, again, a faster, cheaper payment system for the US taxpayer. So that's kind of what we do. That's what I oversee. It's been a long part of our history. But there's nothing that is evolving faster and being more disruptive than the payments industry. For years, this was like the dullest thing you could ever want to be part of. Right? Somebody with a green visor and a pad and paper and doing some debit and entries. No, this is the coolest tech job on the planet right now. So there's so much innovation happening, both in terms of how payments are getting done, who's doing the payments, what are the objects that people are using to make payments. That's why the job I have now is super fascinating. I go around, talk to payments conferences, payments people, find out where things are going. And that brings us, I guess, to stablecoins, which is probably going to pass here soon. Now, stablecoins are they're just a new method for making a payment. I'm going to use a very simple analogy that won't scare people because stablecoins came out of the crypto world, and then you say that people freak out. But it used to be, apparently not anymore, but it used to be you go to a casino, they won't take dollar bills on any of the tables or anything like that. You go get chips, and you get a poker chip that matched $1, and then the platform, the rails of the casino were all the tables. And you move those chips around the tables, and then at the end of the night, you collected them, and you went back, and you cashed it out. So it's just a different payment instrument for moving on a different set of rails than we typically do in our normal daily life. But that's about as simple as I can explain it. So stablecoins are just a new dollar token, just like a poker chip, that is now going to trade over a different set of digital rails, typically the crypto rails, Ethereum, Solana, these various platforms. What is that going to do? It's going to open up different ways of making payments. These are fast, 24 by 7 by 365 payment setups. They're just a dollar representation. They don't pay interest. You have to have them fully backed. There's no banking credit backing this up. It's just pure liquid assets, treasuries, or reserves in the Fed. And the whole idea for me is that this is just going to introduce competition in payments. It's going to make cross-border payments so much easier. It's going to make them faster, and it's going to make them cheaper. And that's the goal for me as a free market capitalist economist, is I want competition in payments to drive down the cost for households and consumers and businesses. That's it. Banks have to compete. Sorry, that's your job. So it's not my job to protect profits of individual firms. So that's it. But I want a level playing field. If you're going to introduce a stablecoin, let the banks in on it too. Then go compete. See what happens. But I just think historically, because stablecoins came out of the crypto world, because they realized the standard problem. I got to pay for something that somebody wants. I can hand them some Dogecoin, but nobody wants that. Maybe. But if I say, oh, this is a dollar-backed stablecoin, and when you're done, you can go cash it out, people are like, yeah, I'll take that. So even in the crypto world, this is where stablecoins came. They realized the need for a payment instrument that's safe, stable, and backed by a US dollar. They're not trading Bitcoin to pay for things. No one's buying pizzas with Bitcoin. But they do with stablecoins. So that's what it is this is an innovation in a world people have been afraid of for the last 4 years, but it's just a piece of technology to conduct a payment. That's it.
And he just said the quiet part out loud, right? Stablecoins. Stablecoins are the focus here. And he also just mentioned a level playing field. You know who else has been saying a level playing field for years on end? Ripple. They talked about this back in like 2016, 2017. It's a term that they have stuck with up until even now. And now we're hearing it from the Fed. We're hearing it from these major central bank players. And also he did mention the FedWire service, which is also switching over to ISO 2022, which is also opening up the doors for tapping into DLT, stablecoins, and things like that. And also, by the way, don't forget that the head of public policy and government at Ripple, Lauren Beliv, was at a private meeting with Nellie Liang, Undersecretary for Domestic Finance, back in 2024. We could see all of the names here, by the way. The main players here were Paxos, Chainlink, Stellar, Ripple, and Circle. If we're thinking about how involved Ripple is, I would say that they're deeply integrated already within the financial system. And also, with the recent announcement of Ripple becoming a bank charter, or at least applying for the bank charter, them becoming a national trust bank, which that's what it's titled, Ripple National Trust Bank, this is their application. With this recent application, we already know that this is opening the doors for the Fed to hold ROUSD reserves directly, which is also paving the way for ROUSD to be tied in to the FedWire service and even the FedNow service, but also for ROUSD to become a crucial part of the US system. We also got a big update from Jungle Inc. And I actually love the thinking and the thought process on this. We have the XRP ledger will be bridged to the Federal Reserve. Ripple's plan for a US banking license isn't just regulatory, it's revolutionary. With ROUSD, Ripple will issue stablecoins on the XRP ledger backed by dollars held directly at the Fed. That's right, the XRP ledger becomes an extension of the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. These aren't just tokens. ROUSD is a digital IOU for real Fed-held cash, redeemable and instantly settled on a decentralized blockchain. No other blockchain has this yet. Not USDC, may also get a license, runs on the XRP ledger. Not USDT, not PayPal. Ripple is building this bridge. This is how Ripple wins. They're not fighting the system, they're becoming part of it. If approved, Ripple will control the rails, the stablecoin, and the settlement layer. This isn't just big for XRP, it's the blueprint for crypto's future inside global finance. And believe it or not, it is. Right? We've been hearing from all of the big players, even Scott Bessent, right? He has been telling us that we are going to see stablecoins become even more integrated into the US financial system. He even said that the dollar has survived past doubts, from Nixon's gold exit to now. Stablecoins may be its next global anchor. This is a massive statement. But it's also the fact that even the Fed now is given the green light to stablecoins. They know that stablecoins are becoming a huge piece of the global financial system. 1.1% of the global M2 supply should not go unnoticed. And Ripple is at the forefront of all of this. And they have been making sure that XRP is that bridge currency between all of these stablecoins. I've talked about it multiple times on the channel. I believe that I actually have a post regarding this from a while ago. Yeah, it was this one. This is that image, right? I said this was always the plan, XRP. And if we think about this, okay, we have BBRL, which is a Brazilian real stablecoin. Okay, we already have a Euro stablecoin as well. We have multiple USD stablecoins. We know that a Japanese yen stablecoin is inevitable on the XRP ledger because of the connections with Japan with Ripple. And also the Digital Pound Foundation already said, digital pound. So if we think about that, okay, that's five out of the 8 that's actually on this list in front of us. Just imagine what's going to be happening over the next couple months as stablecoin adoption and stablecoin discussions heat up even more. We know almost every single nation is looking at stablecoins, but the fact that we already have so many fiat currency stablecoins on the XRP ledger today proves to you that this vision is still in play, where XRP is that bridge currency. It's a decentralized bridge currency, perfect and suited for something like this. I am very excited about what's happening around stablecoins. I'm very excited about what's happening around crypto because it reinforces our thought process from years and years ago. And yes, XRP, Ripple, RLUSD, the XRPL, it's all crucial pieces of this puzzle. But the Fed telling us all of this, the Fed reinforcing the thought process on stablecoins, this should be confirmation enough of what's about to happen. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.